Okay, so today we're going to be working on pine cones. And you know, I'm no expert. In fact, this is my first time ever painting one. So let's try this out together. Now, if you're using the same palette as me, I am going to be concentrating on these three colors right here. So this is my brown. I don't know the technical name for it. It's brown. This is one of my shades of green. And this is my other shade of green. And you'll see it as we go. So to start off with, I've got a wet brush. Now, my paint colors are already a little damp because I've already done this just as a trial, just to pick my colors. Some people like to do a big swatch of what the colors look like. I'm not that organized, so I did just a little swatch. And we're going to start off with maybe, I'm thinking a pine cone down in this corner. So we're going to start off with kind of on this angle. I'm going to put a brown swatch, and you can see it is quite wet. Now I'm just flicking off some of that brown because I want to go a little bit lighter on my next one. So now we're going to kind of make a swoosh down this way. And it depends on, you know, how dark it was on your brush. This is the shade that I like best, but that darkness up there, that's good too. You know, in nature, it's not going to be always perfect. It's going to have different shades, and that's okay. So I'm going to just do a little squiggle in here, and then another little piece coming up. And it doesn't have to be precise because they're not precise in nature. Keep in mind that when you lift your brush, that's when you get that little pool that's going to go back. So. And just because mine looks one way does not mean yours needs to look the same way. I'm going to put two down here just because I didn't like it was lining up too perfectly. A little bit going up there. Don't want too much of a white space in between. I have to move this around a little bit. We're getting very light, as you can tell. And I can go back and I can darken that up after if I need to. I can even pool a little bit from up here. Because remember I said that that was a little dark up there, right? So I can bring some of that down. But I kind of like how it's looking like a little bit of light might be hitting more on this side. Just keeping that lighter over there. So another little squiggle over here. Again, keeping that dark. And if sometimes they touch, that's okay too. Maybe just a little more darkness in there. Just a little tap tap. If you need to pick up some more, you can go back, pick up a little more. Need some water in there. There we go. All right, now down here, I'm going to make them quite a bit bigger. And keep in mind, different pine trees have different shaped pine cones too, right? So maybe yours is short and round, where mine seems to be more of the long, slender. Just depending on how far up you started, right? Go, and again, that's going to be a little bit darker than the other ones. So I'm just going to bring that out a bit. Maybe extend that one out. But there we go. That is basically my pine cone. I think that is looking actually very good for my first try. Now I'm just wiping it off on a baby wipe. I'm going to pick up just a little bit of water, and I'm going to go back in actually with this. I want to add a little more water to this. Make it a little softer here. Okay. Just check and see how it's going. Okay. So now I think what I want to do, I'm thinking, I'm going to do a little swoop over this way, just like that. And I'm going to pick up just a tiny bit of water on my tip and maybe have another one coming that way. Okay. Now I'm going to do some flicks. Trying just to do the very tip of my brush. You can see some of them I've pressed down a little harder. Trying to keep, oh, that was perfect. Just the very tips. And no specific length. I'm just kind of flicking it off. I seem to have a harder time flicking this way. So what if we just turn, ooh, like that. Sometimes just turning it a little bit helps. Okay? What do you think? We're getting there. Now I'm going to rinse this off very well. Now, a couple weeks ago, would I have been able to do this? Probably not. I'll be honest. It's by playing around with it every day, just a couple minutes a day. And I do like the idea of cutting up my paper into these tag sizes. So I'm taking one sheet of paper is making me so many different sizes. I'm just going to put a few dots down here just to kind of darken up that center maybe. Again, I'm going to pick up some more of that. So I'm not wasting a lot of paper because I was, when I first started, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm wasting so much paper trying to master this each morning with my 15 minutes of doodling, right? And now that I've hit Christmas time and I've made these tags, I'm kind of like, hey, it's not that bad if I throw just one tag. So I'm just wiping it off. I don't really need to. If I mixed greens, it wouldn't have been that bad. I'm going to go in and pick up a different green now. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to take some of the fluid off there. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to flick them one more time. Just a different shade of green in there. That one might be a little long, but that's okay. And remember, they're not all neat and tidy, right? Some of them are going to flick out the opposite way in nature. I'm feeling like I've put a little too much brown in the background, to be honest, but it's not that bad. We are our own worst critics. You know that, right? What do you think? I think this is looking pretty darn spectacular for my first try. I am feeling like I needed something a little more, just a different shade of green. I'm wondering what this color right here is like. I'm not sure if you can see this. I'm going way over to the other end of the palette. Looks very olive green. I'm going to bring over that other little tag here and just, yeah, I think I need a little bit of that green in there as well. So I've gone all the way to the opposite end of the palette. And I've picked up a little bit. Now I'm tapping it off on the glass. Don't know if you can see that. I don't know what the experts do, but that's what I do. And it's all about what works for you. Yes, a little bit of that green in there as well, I think is gorgeous. I love the different shades. Now, if yours is like, I don't know, whatever kind of Scotch pine or whatever, you can try and match it to those colors. I'm not that particular. I'm really not. It's just whatever shade I'm enjoying. So I've gone back in and I've picked up another green again. Trying to keep in mind that it probably shouldn't be too full. I'm just gonna throw some little short ones in there. I think that's pretty good. And now that I'm looking at it, if I would have, that first one, if I would have gone with a lighter brown, that would have been like perfect oats probably. I'm just saying. So what do you think? Got a little bit too much brown right up there. Am I being too picky? Let's just tap a little more green in there. But there we go. It's all about just having fun with it. Now we're gonna let this dry, and then I'll probably come in and put a cute little stamp in there. So now that this is all dry, I am loving it. I'm gonna go in with my Embossing It Clear ink pad. And I've already picked out my little stamp. It says Winter Wonderland. I should have had a scrap piece of paper to try this out on, but I don't. So we're going to just flip over that card and we're going to lightly press it into our pad and stamp it down just to make sure that the stamp works nicely and that you've got it in the right direction, because I've done that before. As I'm getting older, my eyesight's going, and sometimes I don't take the time also to concentrate and just read the words, make sure they're in the right order. So just a reminder. All right, so I'm going to come in and I'm just going to drop it right there. Give it a little push down. And there we go. Oh, it's going to be so sweet. Okay. Now for the fun part, I'm going to grab just a piece of paper. This happens to be one of my printables, but we're not going to mess it up. It's okay. We're just going to flip it over, and it's just to catch all of the extra embossing powder. So we're going to take our embossing powder and just, dump a bit on. You don't have to press it in or anything, as long as you're quick at it and that the ink is still wet. You'll find that when you dump it off, it's adhered to it pretty darn good. Now, sometimes I find because it's static, there's a little bit of that extra powder that just kind of lingers. So you can either try and tap it off, or sometimes I might take a little paintbrush like this and just kind of flick it out of there. Because once you heat it up, it kind of sticks in place. So again, just tap off all the extra, and then we're going to put all the extra powder back into the container. So there we go. Just kind of fold it and dun, 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 dun. There we go. Okay, so now we're ready to heat it up. I love this part. It is so exciting. So just give it a little bit of heat. And it takes no time at all. Do you see how fast it's going? Ah, it's so cool. There's the magic. Now I'm going to heat up the whole tag, just because as I was heating up that one section, it kind of caused it to twist a little bit, kind of bevel. If I heat up the whole thing really quickly and then just turn it over and hold it down to the cold surface of the counter, it's going to flatten it back out for me. And there it is. It's complete. Oh my gosh, do you love it as much as I do? I hope you do. Now, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.